It is the Thursday edition of Gaming Morning Show, and as we do on Thursdays, we have the pleasure of having someone from But Why Tho, butwhythopodcast.com, joining us, and today it is the editor-in-chief of said website. It is Kate Sánchez joining us on Gaming Morning Show. Good morning to you, Kate.
Good morning. Really excited to be here.
It is Austin Attack 12 hanging out with us, Sean and Ryan, and it is National Rescue Dog Day. Where do you sit in the spectrum of dogs? Big dog fan, not a big dog fan? Where do you sit?
I have my own dog. She's a rescue. She's a shepherd beagle, so she has the coat of a shepherd, the little tan and black coat, but she's about 38 pounds, and 10 years old, doesn't act like it. And I think everybody should rescue dogs. There's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's the best way to just find I don't know, find a companion that you can grow with, which I think is what my dog has helped me grow. I've helped her grow, and yeah, I love my baby.
I love shepherds, but a shepherd beagle. If you have a photo, we would love to see that in the Discord.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Kate, when we last left you, we were going to be talking a little bit about Mass Effect on the latest edition of the But Why Tho podcast, at least your flagship podcast, and that is the case. Out now, it's Mass Effect Matters, But Why Tho? Obviously, that game, the newest version of it came out last week. What are some things we should know about Mass Effect?
Well, so the first thing you should know is don't just press A through dialogue options. Those are important. Read them all. You can't, I mean, I guess you could technically go back, but you can't, you get one shot with a lot of these. So there's no trial and error on how you should respond to someone. But I think for me, Mass Effect's one of those pivotal games and kind of forming that, that I think it's the 7th console generation, 360 era, that type of stuff, because of what we get. So in our episode, I talk a lot about the morality system, the choices you make, and also how those choices carry with you across 3 games, and how the impact, it sounds like a joke, but the ending of Mass Effect is the friends you make along the way. Everything that you do to interact with people, interact with the worlds, all of it means so much. So when you're playing through, fall in love with the world, fall in love with your characters, and don't be afraid to play as yourself. But I will say, know that some choices can only be triggered if you have very high Paragon or very high Renegade. So be aware of that.
Nice. I've never played Mass Effect, and this being
awesome.
re-released, it might have to happen.
Yeah, I love it when people say they haven't played, because this is my game that if I would erase from my brain and replay, I would.
Yeah. So it might have to happen. So to shift topics here, there's a name we've been seeing all over the place on Twitter. Kentaro Miura passed away, and so we're all kind of, at least those of us that didn't know about him, are learning a lot about him now. Will you share a little bit about what his life's work included?
Yeah, so Kentaro Miura is the mangaka, the creator, illustrator, writer of Berserk, and Berserk is a dark fantasy manga every time. Sorry, I should turn it off for Thursdays.
7:30 on the West Coast time. Thank you.
Yeah, that's usually my wake up time. Apologies, guys. But he wrote a dark fantasy manga named Berserk, and that dark fantasy manga has influenced pretty much everything we see that is that genre in gaming and in anime and manga. And for me, it was my first step into even learning what dark fantasy was and falling in love with it. So if you play things like Nier, if you play Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Final Fantasy, if you watch Attack on Titan, Castlevania, the directors on Castlevania, Adam and Sam Dietz, actually talked about how impactful Miura was to everybody on the team in crafting Castlevania. All of that is grounded in the foundation and work that Miura did. And one of the important things with Berserk, I mean, it does have to come with some trigger warnings because it's really heavy stuff. But the beauty of Berserk is, and if you've only watched the anime, you may not have gotten to experience this, but it's a dark setting about trauma and pain. And in the beginning, these characters go through the ringer in a way that we don't. I mean, it is more intense than what you see in Game of Thrones, to be honest. But that's not what the series is about. And it handles all of that respectfully and tactfully. And as the series goes on, you get a story about hope, because it's not about the darkness that happened. It's about his characters continually trying to find that light and move towards it, and understand that life isn't going to be the same after the bad stuff that happens to you. And that's okay. But it's about learning how to keep pushing forward even when you don't think that you can. And that's why it's been a really transformative story and a really transformative piece of work for me. And I know a lot of my friends in the anime and manga community feel the same way. And it's not for everybody, so it's not something that I would say everybody should go read. But I think you should at least look up some of his art. Look up the name of the lead character in Berserk is Guts. You can thank Guts for all the giant swords we get, because that's kind of where it kicks off. So look at some of the art, read what some fans are saying, and look towards the stuff that you love and see if you can find those similarities, because all those roads are probably going to lead back to Miura.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. Like, because I've never read or watched Berserk at all, but I love Attack on Titan, and you can obviously tell from what you just said, and watching that, you can see those influences even just from what you're discovering. So although this is a horribly sad thing that he's passed away, so many of us, like Sean said, are getting to learn about this person that's influenced so many of the creative things that we consume. So I think that's really cool, and thank you for sharing about that.
And I will say, if you do love Attack on Titan, then you will love Berserk. The lead female character, Casca, is who Mikasa is completely modeled after. So, and in my opinion, Casca is even better. But if you love Mikasa, you can see kind of like the blueprint for who she is in Berserk. So I if you are an Attack on Titan fan, I definitely recommend Berserk then, because a lot of those similarities are there. Yeah.
Cool. I probably won't read it because it's probably way too intense for me, but I might watch it.
Yeah, no. There are like 3 different anime going around, and hey, and I don't fault anybody for not reading it. The thing's like it's in its 8th omnibus, and that puts it at about like 5 to 6 volumes per piece. And it's been a long time since I've read, and I actually ordered all of them so I can reread it, but I don't remember the exact chapter count, but it's very, very high. So it's a daunting task to take on. So
awesome. Another huge fandom in our little community, I would call Apex a fandom. So like Gaming Morning Show, you are a new sponsor for the Kiki Cup. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to like the most with the tournament that's coming up?
I mean, honestly, it's just the community that's kind of being built around it. So like when Kiki first reached out to us, I did a lot of research and I looked into like the past ones, and then honestly just the community that's formed up around Apex, because I played Apex when it first launched and I haven't touched it since, though I love all of the character designs. But it's amazing seeing how many people are moved to it. And so for us, we wanted to just help, kind of like, we wanted to help that fun. And we're all about community, and we're all about communities that kind of build up around things that we love. So we thought that it was a perfect fit to become a sponsor, so we could kind of, help get more people involved and make that pot a little bit more enticing. Yeah.
It'll be fun. It's July 31st for the third iteration of Kiki Cup. GMS and But Why Tho are part of the sponsor pool that's supporting Kiki Cup. You can find out more at thekikicup.com. And of course, find the latest episode of But Why Tho podcast at butwhythopodcast.com. Kate Sánchez, you talked about community. You are one of the best community builders. In fact, that is the initial reason that I found you in the first place. And it was great to see your name and your thoughts featured in Polygon. It was great to see that you had something specific happen with Rotten Tomatoes this week. My Twitter feed has been so much fun just to see you getting the spotlight that you and your community deserve. We can't wait to see more from what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That is Kate Sánchez joining us on Gaming Morning Show. It is now 7:36 on the West Coast, and it is 10:36